This is the Volkswagen ID.4 and it might be fashionably late to the EV SUV party in Australia, but let me tell you, it's one of the better examples that you could choose if you're looking for something with big EV driving range, lots of great features, no annoying safety bing bong stuff, and well, plenty of space too. This could be the right car for you. I'll tell you all about it in this review, so stick around. If you haven't already, please subscribe and ring the bell, and let's get to it. At launch, there's just one version of the ID.4 available in Australia. It's called the Pro and it starts at $59,990 plus on-road costs. But there will be a higher spec version coming later on, the ID.4 GTX, which will offer you dual motor all-wheel drive, more power, a little bit less EV driving range, but it will come in at a higher price point. Pricing for it hasn't been confirmed just yet, but expected to be just under 70 grand based on the current pricing for the ID.5. Which is the coupe style version, which sits above this. Now, let's talk about standard equipment. You are getting plenty for your cash with this vehicle. There are 19-inch alloy wheels with very high profile tires to make it a bit more comfy. There's LED lighting all around the car, including LED daytime running lights and dynamic indicators at the back. There's keyless entry. You've got a push button starter, but you can also sit to start if you want to. And inside you'll find a 12.9-inch touchscreen media system with wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Wireless smartphone connectivity is coming soon. Plus there's also a 5.3-inch digital instrument display. There's this lovely interior trim called Art Velours, which is like a micro suede finish with electric front seat adjustment. Both those front seats are heated. They also have memory settings and massage settings too. You're also getting smartphone connectivity for this vehicle. So there's an app that you can download to control some elements like your air conditioning and your charging settings if you want to, just using your smartphone, so you don't have to do it all through the touchscreen. In some other Volkswagen Group products, that sort of usability is not available. Now, let's talk about some alternatives then, and well, one of them might be a familiar face from the Volkswagen Group. If you're thinking you want to spend as little as you can for a value-focused and still really well-equipped car, have a look at the BYD C-Line 7. That's my advice. It's a bloody good thing for the money. The entry-level one is about 55 grand, and it gets you things like ventilated front seats as standard, which is very impressive. It's also really comfortable. I drove the performance dual motor all-wheel drive model. I don't think you really need to spend that much to get a really good C-Line 7. It's pretty impressive in a lot of ways. And sure, it might not be an established brand, but it's going to be very quickly the way that BYD is going. Another option you might want to check out is the XPeng G6. Now, there's a couple of versions available at the moment, both rear-wheel drive, both with plenty of spec for the cash. And I really do like the XPeng because it's easy to live with, it's really quite comfy and spacious too. High tech and really enjoyable to drive. So it could be a great choice if you haven't considered it and you are okay with the design of it. It's not to everyone's tastes. And if you're looking for a really design-focused electric SUV and you want something maybe from the Volkswagen Group as well, you could have a look at the Cupra Tavascan. The rear-wheel drive version is about the same price as this at $69.90, and it has plenty of EV driving range. It's got a seriously wow factor interior. It looks fantastic on the outside too, and I don't think you really need to spend much more than that base grade to get the best Tavascan. But which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments. The ID.4 is the more SUV-like model. So the ID.5 is the coupe. The ID.4, well, it has the more wagon back, traditional SUV profile. I like it personally. This one has the exterior styling package as well, which is an extra grand or so. Gets you the silver highlight at the top. I don't necessarily think that makes it look better personally, but I'll put the dimensions on your screen now so you can see for yourself what kind of size you're working with. It is not the hugest electric SUV, and that might actually make it fit into your lifestyle better, but it also has these very interesting looking 19-inch alloy wheels. I don't know whether I like them or not, but I do like the fact that they're on very high profile tires to make it country road friendly. Now let's have a look at the back here. Yes, you do get an LED bar across the back and these nice looking tail lights, and ID.4 is in a white font on this car. If you choose the GTX models, well, they get GTX on the back and don't say ID4 there. Electric tailgate as standard, which is a nice bonus. And let's have a look at the boot space. Yes, you can see the figure on screen tells you that this is a very sizable boot for the size of the car, and it will be family friendly, maybe even fleet friendly if you're thinking about electrifying your business, and has good amenities in the back here too. There are lights on both sides. You get a 12-volt port here, a shopping bag hook there, more little storage nooks on the sides of the cargo area, and a netting system too. And yes, another light, another shopping bag hook. And under the boot floor, let's have a look. Well, there's just more space. You can lower this floor down if you need more space, which is really quite handy. And then underneath, if I lift this back up out of the way, there's even more space under there. So that is really handy for this rear-wheel drive version. It means you can store your cables and so forth in that section, and there is no frunk. So if you have to go in under there to get your cables out every single time, it might be a bit of a pain, but I think this is still a very practical boot space for the size of the vehicle. It has a ski port too, handy. Rightio, here's the interior of the ID.4 Pro. So I think it looks and feels pretty good for the cash, more convincing than the more expensive ID.5 GTX in my mind. And look, you might not necessarily love the fact that it's got a 5.3-inch digital instrument cluster there. It's a little bit small compared to lots of the rivals out there. And so is this screen, a 12.9-inch touchscreen media system. As you can see, it does have Apple CarPlay, but at the time I'm filming this, you still have to plug in to get Apple CarPlay on the screen. There will be an update coming with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I mean, so it should. Now, there's also no head-up display, so that might play into your considerations, but let's have a look at this screen more generally. Just like the ID.5 GTX, well, you do have heaps of different menus and controls available to you on the screen, and thankfully a really great section of favorites up there. So if you want to just jump into the safety assist functions, well, you can do that by going in here and doing exactly what you want to do with those. Then there's a drive mode shortcut there too. You can configure these shortcuts if you want to. Speaking of configuring, you can configure things in the individual mode for your driving. So if you want it to be super duper comfy, you can. That's the suspension adjuster toggle that I'm going through right there. You can make it super duper firm, and it's not super duper firm in that sportiest mode either. We'll get to that in the driving section. So drive mode's there, and you've also got some car controls that you can easily get into here if you want to see things like your current charge status, or you want to optimize your charge, then you can. And there's also in here a little thing where you can turn on ESC Sport if you want to have a more spirited drive. And look, I think that this is a pretty usable screen. You do get used to it relatively quickly. You can quickly jump into the park view mode as well, so you can see what's going on around the car with the surround view camera. And you'll also have to, well, get used to some of the controls here as well. So this is the home screen with Apple CarPlay connected. Yes, I've been listening to music for my kid. Not while I'm away though on this launch. And look, there's also this voice control system if you want to go into that. Now here you'll find your climate screen, which climate is short for climate, in case you're wondering. And you can adjust elements to the climate control on the screen there. There is a slider for the temperature control on both sides. And there's a recirc button, which I love. And here, if you tap that, you can go into your seat heating adjustment too. Here you'll also find other ways to control the fan direction and the speed and so forth if you want to, or you can just put it on auto if you're one of those people who doesn't need to fiddle with their car controls. I am not that guy. There's also a volume scroller for the controls for the media here, but yes, sadly, no dials, which could be annoying. Now, some other things about the controls here. You've got haptic controls on the steering wheel, which I don't like. I think they are annoying, and you might too. But you can hear that also, yeah, there's a bit of a noise. I'm sure you could turn that off if you don't like it. You've got your cruise control stuff there. And on this side, you've got some other controls for your media and so forth. And also the display on the screen there can be adjusted. So that's, I mean, minimalist, but it's okay. And there's a steering wheel heating button, which you might actually bump when you're driving. So just be aware of that. It's not ideal in my opinion. Your gear selector is one of those ones where you twist it forwards to go into drive and backwards to go into reverse. There's a park button on the end, and if you twist it forward twice, you can see there's a B mode. B is your regen mode. And on this side, you'll find a stalk with wiper and blinker control. So that might take a little bit of getting used to. You've got your light controls down there. And look, I just want to show you this right here. So you've got window switches, but just 2 for the driver. And that's because you have to press that if you want to use the rear windows and lower them. You do that with those controls as well. But that is a haptic control. And it's, look, rather inconsistent with the tap ability, and you might actually bump it when you're trying to just wind down the front windows. So that can be frustrating. You've got illuminated vanity mirrors up here, grab handles including for the driver, an auto dimming rear vision mirror. You also don't get a sunglasses holder. You do get this big panoramic glass roof as standard. There's conventional vents, which is a bonus. You've got this configurable section here, so you can remove that if you don't want that in the way. Well, look at that, I've got double key, magic. And look, it's kind of neat that you can move that between there and down there if you want to. As you can see, there's a wireless phone charger here, and you can plug in USB-C ports there. There's also this bit where you can remove this section out if you want to and have a bit more space. You can close that up if you don't want to be seeing all that stuff in there. And you've got these nicely adjustable armrests between the seats, which will make for more comfortable long distance trips and also more comfortable sitting and charging moments. And let's have a look at these seats. They are lovely, I have to say. Art Velours is the trim, and it's like a microfiber finish with fake leather on the sides. It's really lovely, and these seats are super comfy. They have massage functionality, they have memory settings, they are electrically adjustable. There are big door pockets, but they aren't fully lined. There is lining down the bottom, but they're not fully lined like lots of other Volkswagen products. And you've got a glove box with, well, not much usable space there. So it's maybe missing a couple of things in terms of the storage, but let's see if it lives up to the space in the back seat. This seat is set for my driving position. I'm 6 foot tall and I've got, well, lots and lots of knee room. Foot room is the big issue for me with how I like to sit, nice and low. I don't have that much wiggle room in there. I do have big feet, but yeah, there's not as much space as in some other cars. It is a flat floor though, so you do have heaps of space to fit 3 adults across if you need to. And when it comes to headroom, yes, you do get a little more seemingly in this ID4 compared to the ID5. You still have, well, a bit of an intrusion from this glass roof being a part of this package. You can't get it without a glass roof either, so that might be something you don't like about it. It does have a cover there though, so at least you can get the sun away from you if you want to on a hot day. You've got some great features here like grab handles and lights at the back. There's some little hooks on the side too, and these seats have multi-pocket pockets as well. So yes, there is a section up here where you can put a phone or something like that. There's more storage down there, and you do have climate control in the second row as well. It's not on because the car's not on. And there's also directional air vents, USB-C ports, more mat pockets, more storage in the doors as well. And you've got a flip down armrest here with cup holders that can also open up because there's a ski port there, which is handy if you need to load through. You've also got here ISOFIX points in the window seats and 3 top tethers. So it is a practical and comfortable space. Well, for most people, at least. If you've got really tall teens, it might not be ideal, but for the majority of people, it's going to be comfy enough, I would say. And the back seat is very comfy too. The ID.4 Pro in Australia comes with a 77 kilowatt hour net usable battery capacity. It's an NMC battery and it will offer you a huge 544 kilometers of EV driving range. That is very impressive for the cash, and the charging stuff is pretty impressive too. So your charge port is on the rear driver's side, so it might not be ideal for street parkers, but let's have a look at what you're working with here. 11 kilowatt AC charging, that should mean a pretty speedy charging time if you can access 3-phase power, that is. A little bit slower if you're on 7 kilowatt, but there's also 175 kilowatt DC charging, which is speedy when it comes to finding a rapid charger. If you can find one that works and doesn't have someone parked there, you should be able to do a very fast recharge. I think this one could be a sweet spot for plenty of people who are worried about driving distance in their new EV. The ID.4 Pro is powered by a single electric motor which is located at the rear axle. It offers up 210 kilowatts, 545 newton meters, so that is plenty for a vehicle of this size, although it is a bit of a heavy one at just over 2100 kilos. But it still manages to do 0 to 100 in a respectable 6.7 seconds, so it's going to give you driving thrills, and it's rear-wheel drive too, so that's a nice bonus in my opinion. Now, as I said, there's a GTX all-wheel drive dual motor version coming, which will be faster and more powerful, so it might be worth waiting for that one. You can check out my review of the ID.5 GTX by hitting the link in the description, and you'll be able to see what it's like to drive. But let's go drive this one and see what it's like. For this launch drive of the ID.4 Pro, we've done a lot of country road driving, and that is where this car really appeals. In my opinion, it is one of the most comfortable, if not the most comfortable, fully electric SUV for this type of driving. We're outside Wagga at the moment, and the roads are, well, not perfect. Some of them are pretty choppy and rough. We've even done some unsealed road driving, and I have to say that I've been so impressed by this SUV and the fact that it's got the big high profile tires, but also adjustable suspension, so you can make it ride as firmly or as pillowy as you prefer, depending on the situation you find yourself in. It really does make this a super amenable vehicle for Australian long road touring. So it's got lots of range, as I mentioned earlier, and it's also got lots of capability when it comes to soaking up highway Ks and country distances, because that's what we've been doing. And I've just been really impressed by the way that it, well, handles this kind of life in Australia sort of experience. And look, it's in comfort mode right now. If I put it into sport mode, things firm up and sharpen up a bit. You get better throttle response, more aggressive regen braking, but also the steering gets heavier feeling, and it also doesn't necessarily feel as wobbly over bumps. But let's go have a bit more of a fun experience. I'm going to put it into ESC Sport for this little hill climb section here. It is rear wheel drive and it is dynamic. Let me tell you, if I give it a bit of a push through this corner, it is fun. I really like the purity of this experience. There's really good steering response, and you just get, well, yeah, there's even a little bit of traction control still happening, but it is so enjoyable. It's not necessarily underpowered, and it certainly does hustle when you give it a bootful out of a corner. And yes, you will have your thrills as well as just getting the stuff done to pay the bills for this car. I reckon it is a corker when it comes to the drive experience, but there are some things that I don't love about it. The throttle pedal is super touchy, and it means that you can sort of jolt away from a standstill when you're not trying to. And the brake pedal feel is also not fantastic. It does have a bit of a pillowy, spongy feel to it. It's got drum brakes at the back like lots of other Volkswagen Group products on this platform, and that's designed to be less emitting and less, I guess, intensive when it comes to ongoing maintenance for that. So at least you've got pretty good regen braking on offer, so you can flick it into B mode and it will do a very assertive level of regen. It won't do like single pedal driving, it won't come to a complete stop, but it will get down to about walking pace, and you can predict it very easily. It's not too assertive, so you won't make everyone feel sick in the car either, so that's a nice bonus. One of the most enjoyable elements of this drive experience though is the lack of safety nannies. Like, it does have heaps of safety technology, but it doesn't have a speed sign recognition system, so it won't beep and bong at you and get it wrong all the time either. And there's no driver monitoring bing bong bullshit either. So what that means is, well, you're just left to drive this car as you would drive any other car. It just happens to be fully electric and actually really impressive. Okay, let's talk efficiency. The official combined energy consumption figure for the ID.4 Pro is on screen now. That is relatively good, I have to say. And over this test, as I've said, starting in Canberra, all the way down to just outside Wagga, doing lots of this sort of driving, country roads and some challenging stuff and some spirited testing as well, it has seen a very impressive number over this testing period. You'll see it on screen now, and if you can achieve that in the sort of driving that we've been doing, I reckon you'll be bloody stoked. It's very impressive in terms of the efficiency, very impressive more generally, and no annoying safety tech. Just a big thumbs up for that. The Volkswagen ID.4 does have a 5-star ANCAP safety rating, but it's for New Zealand sold models. I think it'll flow across to the Aussie models as well. It's got the same tech and spec, all as standard. Things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's adaptive cruise control with intelligent cruise as well, so it can stop, start and steer for you in some situations. Yes, that means it has lane keeping assistance, which you can turn off if you don't like it. And there's also a really great thing about this car: no annoying safety tech. So it doesn't have bing bong bullshit. That means it doesn't have any driver monitoring camera that will get on your nerves. There is a system that will do driver monitoring, but it won't get on your nerves. There is no speed sign recognition system though. So if you are nervous about your points on your license, maybe this one won't be ideal for you, but at least it doesn't bing and bong and get it wrong like so many of them do. There's also great things like blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, a surround view camera system is standard too. All of those things make this a very livable and safe feeling car. And you've also got 7 airbags fitted: dual front, front side, full length curtain, and a front center airbag to prevent head clashes in the event of a side impact. In Australia, Volkswagen offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, and if you choose an electric Volkswagen, you get an 8-year 160,000k warranty for the battery pack. Now, servicing, your service intervals are every 24 months or 30,000 kilometres, which is very generous. Again, it could appeal to fleet customers for that reason. And you get up to 10 years of capped price servicing cover. Now, the service prices, $595 per visit. If you want to go and do the pay-as-you-go thing, you can prepay if you want to as well, which might end up saving you a bit of money. You can also roll those prepaid services into your finance package if you're thinking about getting finance. And another great bonus, if you are thinking along those lines, you can get guaranteed future value for your electric Volkswagen, which might be a really great consideration for someone who is nervous about resale values with EVs. I can understand if you are. It isn't looking great for some of them out there, but it is great to be able to have a guaranteed future value offer like this one. So, ownership stuff, yeah, I think it gets a big thumbs up. I think I've made it clear, I really like the Volkswagen ID.4 Pro. This rear-wheel drive electric SUV is practical, comfortable, and surprisingly livable. A lot more enjoyable to drive than some of the others in the segment, especially if you don't like being bing-bonged at. So this could be a fantastic choice, but is it good enough for the money? I'd love to know your thoughts. Would you spend less to get more, or would you go for this one, which isn't a chore? Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see ya when I see ya.